Good morning, class 6. Today we will start with the last chapter of history, buildings, paintings and books. Marutsami and the Iron Pillar. Marutsami was so excited. His brother had propelled his wheelchair all along the dusty, stony path past the towering Qutub Minar and up the middle ramp. It had been tough, but now he was here, in front of the famous Iron Pillar. It was an unforgettable experience. So, they are talking about a boy who is was not able to walk. So his brother has helped him, and they have reached Qutub Minar, and he is very excited about it. Then metallurgy. If you talk about metallurgy, it's like something in which they are studying or the behavior of metallic elements and their intermetallic compounds or something. So they experimented something. Ancient Indian metallurgists made major contributions to the metallurgical history of the world. Archaeological excavations have shown that the Harappans were master craftsmen and had knowledge of copper metallurgy. They even manufactured bronze by mixing copper and tin. So they had manufactured bronze, which was the combination of copper and tin. While the Harappans belonged to Bronze Age, their successors belonged to the Iron Age. India produced highly advanced types of iron, forged iron, wrought iron and cast iron. The Iron Pillar. The Iron Pillar at Mehrauli, Delhi. How many of you have visited Qutub Minar in Delhi? If you have, you must have seen this Iron Pillar which is there. It's it is made up of iron, and its height is 7.2 meters, and it weighs around 3 tons. Right? You must have seen this picture, and it has inscriptions of Chandragupta. Now let's see what is it saying here. The Iron Pillar at Mehrauli, Delhi is a remarkable example of skill of Indian craftsperson, and the best part about it is, or why is it so unique, is that the fact that it is so old but still you cannot see any rusting there. If you leave something outside house for maybe a year or two and it is made up of iron, you will see that after 2-3 years, or in fact after 2-3 months, you will see that there were little bit of rusting has started. But this Iron Pillar is standing without any shade. It's in the sun, say facing the rain, the sun, everything, but still you will see that there is no rusting in the pillar. It is almost 1500 years ago. So it is a remarkable example of the skill of Indian craftsperson. It is made of iron, 7.2 meters high and weighs over 3 tons. It was made about 1500 years ago. We know the date because there is an inscription on the pillar mentioning a ruler named Chandra, who probably belonged to the Gupta dynasty. What is amazing is the fact that the pillar has not rusted in all these years. So this is what we were discussing, that is the best part about it, that there is no rusting in the pillar. Buildings in brick and stone. The skills of a craftsperson are also apparent in the buildings that have survived, such as stupas. The word stupa means a mound. While there are several kinds of stupas, round and tall, big and small, these have certain common features. Generally, there is a small box placed at the center or heart of the stupa. This may contain bodily remains such as teeth, bone or ashes of the Buddha or his followers, or things they used, as well as precious stones and coins. So you must have seen that it's something like a round figure which is on the ground, and there had they used to keep a small box which contained the remains, that is like for the memory of the person. So the remains of Buddha, his followers. Sometimes the remains could be in form of ash or the teeth or a bone. Then some precious stones or coins are also kept in these boxes. This box, known as relic casket, was covered with earth. Later, a layer of mud brick or baked brick was added on top, and then the dome-like structure was sometimes covered with carved stone slabs. Often, a path known as the Pradakshina path was laid around the stupa. This was surrounded with railing. Entrance to the path was through gateways. Devotees walked around the stupa in a clockwise direction as a mark of devotion. Both railings and gateways were often decorated with sculpture. Find Amravati on map 7, that is on page number 105. This was a place where a magnificent stupa once existed. Many of the stone carvings for decorating the stupa were made about 2000 years ago. So that box in which they used to keep those things like the stone, ash or teeth or sometimes some precious stones were known as the relic casket, and after placing it they used to cover it with the earth or with the mud. Later a layer of mud bricks was kept on it, and then the dome was sometimes covered with the carved stone slabs. Then there was a path which was known as Pradakshina path was laid around the stupa. This was surrounded with the railing. So that stupa was surrounded with a railing. That one of them, you can see that it is said that there was one stupa which existed in Amravati, which you can see on page 105, map number 7. So you must have seen this place. If you haven't, please mark it on the map. Other buildings were hollowed out of the rock to make artificial caves. Some of these were very elaborately decorated with sculptures and painted walls. Some of the earliest Hindu temples were also built at this time. Deities such as Vishnu, Shiv and Durga were worshipped in these shrines. The most important part of the temple was the room known as Garbhagriha. So that was a place where the worship was, the deities were worshipped, and it was known as Garbhagriha, where the image of the chief deity was placed. It was here that priests performed religious rituals and devotees offered worship to the deity. So that place where Garbhagriha was the place where the deity was kept. The religious rituals were performed by the devotees and by the priest. You can see this stupa, the great stupa at Sanchi, which is in Madhya Pradesh. Stupa like this one were built over several centuries, while the brick mound probably dates to the time of Ashoka. The railings and gateways were added during the time of later rulers. Left, sculpture from Amravati. Look at the picture and describe. So you can see this sculpture which is from Amravati. Right here you can see that people are there. The elephant is there. They are all, some of them they have joined their hands, right? And then there are people who are maybe involved in some sort of fighting. Okay. So then in the next page you can see that there is a black and white picture of a temple, an early temple of Bhitra Gaon, Uttar Pradesh. This was built about 1500 years ago and was made of baked bricks and stone. So 1500 years, almost on the same time when the iron pillar was erected. Monolithic temples at Mahabalipuram. Each of these was carved out of huge single piece of stone. That is why they are known as monolith. Mono means single and lith means stone. So it was made of using a single stone. While brick structures are built up by adding layers of bricks from the bottom upwards, in this case the stone cutters had to work from top. Often at Bhitragaon, a tower known as Shikhar was built on the top of the Garbhagriha to mark this out as a sacred place. So, a tower was built so that it was clear to people that it was that tower was known as Shikhar, and to differentiate that it was a Garbhagriha or a sacred place. Building Shikhar required careful planning. Most temples also had a space known as mandap. It was a hall where people could assemble. Find Mahabalipuram and Aihole on map 7, page 105. Some of the finest stone temples were built in these towns. Some of these are shown here. So we can see the pictures, right? And monolithic temples we have I just told you, when the brick structure was made using the single piece of stone. List the problems that stone cutters may have faced. The Durga temple at Aihole, built around about 1400 years ago. So obviously it was very difficult when they started making the temple using a single piece of stone, and that too from the from upside, instead of how we make the houses. You must have seen that first of all the base is made, and then gradually, that is, the foundation is done, and then the building is built up. But here they started building from the upside, so obviously it would have been very difficult for the people to make it in that at that time, right? How were stupas and temples built? There were several stages in building a stupa or a temple. Usually kings or queens decided to build these as it was expensive affair. First, good quality stone had to be found, quarried and transported to the place that was often carefully chosen for the new building. Here, these rough blocks of stone had to be shaped and carved into pillars and panels for walls, floors and ceilings, and then these had to be placed in precisely the right position. So first of all, they had to select a place where they wanted the temple to be made, and since it was an exorbitant effort, so it was made this effort or these ideas came up implemented by the kings and queens. Then they had to think about where and how the temple should look, and from where the stones should be brought up, and all these things were thought upon. Kings and queens probably spent money from their treasury to pay the craftsperson who worked to build these splendid structures. Besides, when devotees came to visit the temple or the stupa, they often brought gifts which were used to decorate the buildings. For example, an association of ivory workers paid for one of the beautiful gateways at Sanchi. Among the others who paid for decorations were merchants, farmers, garland makers, perfumers, smiths, and hundreds of men and women who are known only by their names, which were inscribed in the pillars, railings, and walls. So, when you get a chance to visit any of these buildings, remember how several hundreds of people probably worked to construct and decorate them. So, obviously, their names could be seen there on the pillars, and you can just give it a thought that how many people must have been involved in making that beautiful building. A Jain monastery from Odisha, this two-story building, you can see it on the page number 117, that is the double story building, and was carved out of rock stuffers. Notice the entrance to the rooms. Jain monks, you can see this where it is a double story building, and Jain monks lived and meditated in these rooms. So it was a Jain building for Jainas, and where the monks lived in these double story building. They meditated in these rooms. In what ways is the cave shown here different from the illustration on page 14? A sculpture from the National Museum, New Delhi. Can you see how some of the caves may have been hollowed out? So this is the way people might have been making the caves hollow from inside, right? So that is all for today, class. Please read the chapter. Take care of yourselves. Be safe at home. Thank you.